Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time. We are officially here in season 5. It's great to be back. Okay, a couple things before we get started. One, please share this podcast. You never know whose life you're going to save by just sharing the podcast. Two, please leave a review of the podcast on Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening to your podcast from. Please leave a review. It really helps the algorithm. It really helps the podcast, get more noticed and all that good stuff. And third thing, so in the episode description below, we will have the video podcast link. So if you're wanting to watch the video interaction, please click in the episode description below and you will find the YouTube link. And with that being said, let us get started with whatever episode this is going to be, because I don't know what the episode is going to be right now, because this is a pre-recorded intro. Yes. Alrighty, with that being said, welcome to season 5 of Vulnerability Time. Okay, so we have a new special guest. Leland, welcome to the Vulnerability Time podcast.
Well, hi. Thank you so much for having me on Vulnerability Time. I'm super excited just to get to talk about the topics that we have, but also just like talk about really anything and being vulnerable. And I'm excited to be here,
Yes.
so I'm excited to jump right in.
Leland, before we even get into our topics, which will be, folks will be talking about being wanted but not desired. And we trade our true identity for the approval of others or society, or just we trade our identity for anything. I guess Leland will talk more about that. Leland will take us through that journey of what that means and all that good stuff. Okay. So Leland, before we even start, tell us a little bit about you, Leland. It's to my understanding that you have a certain fellowship and you're going into law school. Tell us a little bit about you before we get
Yeah.
started.
No, you're. Thank you so much. I should have introduced myself better. So again, my name is Leland Murphy. Currently, I am a first-year Master's of Public Affairs student at the LBJ School, which is here at UT Austin. So hook 'em. And then, as you kind of mentioned, after I get my master's, which I'm in my first year, next year will be my second year and my final year, I do plan to attend law school somewhere, not 100% sure where yet. And a little bit else about me, really involved in kind of politics and just trying to stay aware and stay as engaged as I can. I have a youth organizing fellowship with Americans United for Separation of Church and State, and I've also been working with other groups like Transit Forward, and I'm part of a Texas political consulting org here on UT's campus. But I mean, outside of politics, I just love, getting to meet new people, and that's why I was really excited when you invited me on, and we finally got to meet, albeit virtually, and just really excited to jump into some awesome conversations and really, dive into vulnerability and just how like life.
Yeah. Leland, everyone, I'm Leland's like biggest fan. I swear, I'm like Leland's biggest fan.
I'm your
Yes,
biggest
Leland.
fan. Stop.
Every time I see like Leland post something, I'm just like, oh my gosh, go Leland. We love the success. I'm Leland's biggest fan. It just makes me
Oh,
happy to see Leland succeed. It literally does. It literally does.
I love you so
Um,
much.
oh,
Literally
sending
love.
love to you. Actually, no, I do this.
Oh, you did this one? We can
Yes.
do this one. Great.
Yeah, I started doing this like 3 years ago, and I made sure I kept doing this because I just like how it feels. Like it's just
No, it is. It's kind of like it's
nice.
light, but I like it. There's also I know there's this one which is like I know it's also I think a K-pop symbol, but it also means like love or a heart or something. This one I think the little like, or maybe it's this. I think that
Yeah.
means love as
Yes.
well. Um,
Yes, it does. It does. Super cute because it kind of like small
right.
loving thing. Okay, so really quick on what I was wanting to tell you before this, but then I was just like, no, let me just say it on the podcast. I'm sure I said it plenty of times, but for those who are just now tuning in, I am very proud to say I'm a McNair Research Scholar. Um, so I did get to present my research in front of members of the Texas House of Representatives. I got to meet James Earl Wright. He's part of the Republican Party, I believe, in the Texas House of Representatives, but it was just really cool to see the similarities within both sides. And I really appreciate the attention to mental health.
Yeah,
Um, and my research was also presented in front of police departments where they have added two mental health officers because of my research. So, and that's something I'm huge on. So it was very refreshing to know that I contributed to there being mental health officers. That is becoming more and more, you know, that's becoming more and more involved within the criminal justice system. I'm loving seeing that. I'm loving the fact that there's also that drug courts are being utilized more, mental health courts, domestic violence courts. Um, because for me personally, I'm all for if there is going to be punishment, I believe that there should be progressive punishment. There should be rehabilitation. If we're going to lock up the person, let's also lock down on the root problem. Many people, they just get locked up and then released back into the streets. In fact, within 3 years of incarceration, 68% of current incarcerated individuals will be released within 3 years. Unfortunately, many of those are coming out without rehabilitation and support, and so the recidivism rates are extremely high. Um, so yeah, for folks who are just now tuning in, that is definitely something that I'm very, very, very passionate about. Anything within the realm of mental health, and the incarceration system, just those two exclusively together. That is just what I'm very passionate about. So I loved it. I love it. You know, if it wasn't during the pandemic, I'm sure I would have gotten to meet so much more elected officials, so much more police departments, but because my research did occur during the pandemic, it definitely put a lot of limits. But because I'm in the state of Texas, I didn't have like extreme limits like other states would have.
right.
Because it's Texas, it's Texas. We
Yeah,
opened up a lot of things during the pandemic, yeah. So I did have a lot more freedom than I would have
yeah.
had if I were like in a different state. Yeah.
And
So
I just wanted to say, like, I think that's amazing that you're able to present in front of elected officials, in the Texas state legislature. I know we talked a little bit about it right before the podcast, but no, and it's really awesome. I feel like to see that how your research actually like affected change, like with the mental health officers, like that's so awesome. Like that's a true tangible impact. And you kind of mentioned, you're absolutely right that um, we don't have enough focus in our criminal justice system on rehabilitation, which then ultimately, what do we have the system for if not to try and make people better, and then once they've done their time to be able to go back into society and be successful and restart their life. So I think that's just really awesome, and I think it's really exciting to see, as you kind of mentioned, that mental health, especially, is there's kind of forming a more bipartisan consensus about it. Obviously, not like perfect and not universal,
right.
but it is a bigger focus at least, and there is a lot of room for Democrats, Republicans, anyone from any political background or party to kind of come together and make change on the issue.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Leland. Oh my God. And literally random side note. Okay, so I got
Uh-huh.
to meet a Republican representative, right? I want to meet a Democratic representative and an independent representative. I also want to meet someone who's let's see, a part of the Libertarian Party
Mm.
or someone and so in the Green Party. I don't know. I just would love to just sit down and like listen
to someone in like every single party just because like I've always just been curious because growing up I didn't know that like there were multiple parties until high
Yeah,
school. I just thought that there were two. I didn't know that America has a communist party. I didn't know I didn't know. Obviously, it's not popular. It's extremely small.
right.
But I didn't know that there was a Green Party. So I remember I was like on Google looking up all the different parties, and this was during high school, and I was like, "Shut up!" So yeah, now I'm just like, I just want to like meet anyone who's a part of, um, yeah, who's I just I would love to meet. I've never
Yeah,
met any citizen who identifies with the Green Party. So that's so yeah, I would love to just get more involved in hearing those
yeah.
people's stories and stuff like that. That's just me
No,
personally.
no, I feel that, and I totally agree. It's always I think it's always so interesting to, you know, see where people's like how their experiences or their beliefs like led them to identify themselves politically a certain way, and just to kind of hear like their thought processes about. I mean, really, this just applies to anything. It doesn't even have to be politics. It could just be about life, really anything. But it's and kind of related to what we were talking about. Yeah, I agree. It's always interesting to hear where people are coming from, and also even if you don't necessarily agree with them on most or anything, like it is interesting to just hear what where they're coming from, and also see if there are like areas where maybe there's overlap. Like maybe they don't have the same views of like the policies we need, but maybe they agree about like a root issue, and then then it's like well finding well where can we maybe come together to make change and that respects or like doesn't make either of us have to like lose our principles, but we can still come together to, make change. It's kind of similar like what we were just talking about with like the mental health stuff and the officers.
Mhm. Oh my God, Leland, you just scream success in law school.
Stop. You are hyping
Go
me up so much.
you.
I'm gonna start blushing on the podcast. I'm gonna start
Oh
blushing.
my God. It's the truth. It's literally the truth. I'm literally so excited. Oh, speaking of law school, before we get started, I love like starting the podcast off with just a general conversation at first before we jump into
Yeah.
anything. Okay, so like because did I tell you this? Okay, because I didn't have a master's in social work. Because I have a master's in criminal
Right.
justice. Just got that, right? And I'll have my master's of social work end of 2024.
Yeah.
But because I only have a master's in criminal justice and not a master's in social work, um, it's it didn't crush me, but like it definitely hurt me. But I did not get accepted into the PhD program that I wanted to.
I'm so sorry.
at, at University of Iowa. Oh no, the thing is, I'm glad it happened because there's a couple things that um I got to experience um here, and I wouldn't have experienced it if I was not here and I was at Soren. And honestly, deep down, I kind of got that feeling that I'm not meant to start that just yet.
Mhm.
That there's something else I need to do first. And what I think it is um there's a certain job opportunity, right? And it's it's the job of my dreams.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like the fact that this job exists and it pays a lot. And I have every single credential that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Every single credential. I truly believe I'm gonna get the job. I'm not even joking. Like I've never felt this way about the job. They want me. They said they want me. I just got to do the interview. Um,
That's so exciting. So you've already
now,
applied. You've already applied for it.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
I
cool.
have an interview next week. I've already spoken to them. I just
Exciting.
have a
Yeah.
yeah. And so what I'm thinking is going to happen because this is. I think what's going to happen is I need to get stable with a job first,
Mhm.
you know, a consistent source of income first. And wherever that location is, that's also going to be the location that I will, you know, do my PhD in.
Yeah.
Um, because what I was originally planning was University of Iowa, and then what if I get like a job in like a different state, you know, how's that going to work? And I knew that that would be a conflict eventually, but I was like, no, I gotta do this PhD, knowing good and damn well that I'm definitely going to also need a consistent source of income.
Right.
So I don't know. So it's just like I don't know, the universe did what it had to do, and I'm really glad, honestly, because if I did get accepted into University of Iowa, I I would I yeah, er, it happened for a reason. How about that?
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was literally about to say that. I know some people have issue with the phrase like, "Oh, things happen for a reason," or like when one door closes, another door opens. And I like get why people feel certain ways about that phrase. Sometimes I do because it's like, sometimes like
same.
immediately after like you maybe don't get an opportunity that you really wanted. But it really is true. And like I feel like this is a perfect example of that. Like, you originally really wanted this PhD program, which honestly, that's on them for not accepting you. Like, it has nothing to do with you because you're incredible and awesome. But look, now you're applying for this job. You're interviewing next week. Hopefully, you'll get it. I believe in you, and I believe that you will. And then
Thank
that'll be an amazing opportunity. And so a new like where one path maybe closed or maybe wasn't the right path, one has opened up or was already open.
Yes, I know. Yeah, and yeah, so this experience has definitely showed me and encouraged me and reminded me that, you know, the PhD is going to happen.
Right.
You know,
It's coming.
it's just probably going to be yeah, it's just probably going to start at spring 2025. Um so that's yeah, I mean,
And that's
that's
valid.
what it's looking like is gonna happen. And that's okay. And I'm proud of me regardless. Because at first I was just like, no, I getting my PhD before I'm 30, you know,
Yeah.
because I think at least the program that I was in, I've seen many programs take um each of them seem to have like different like timelines. I saw one program that was like 6 years, one that was four. I was like ideally I'm going for the 4 year program, you know,
Right.
but anyways, I can get more I could go on and on about that for another 5 minutes,
No,
but
I love it, and I
let's skip
love
all
hearing
that.
you talk about it. So, I mean,
Oh good. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Um so yes, oh yeah, last thing folks before we get into our topic. Okay, so folks, totally buy my new book. Um
Buy
it's in
it.
the episode
Buy the
description
book.
below. Yes, buy the book. It's called Wounds into Wisdom: Self-Awareness Interactive Journal Notebook with Prompts. It's great for self-awareness. It's great for healing your inner child, loving your inner child. Um, this book has very thought-provoking, wise
Yeah.
prompts in it, and I'm telling you, if you want more self-awareness, if you want to start self-awareness, if you think you know yourself, this book, you folks, you are worthy of all the love and understanding that you can give to yourself. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and it's amazing. It has spaces as well where you can doodle or draw. If anything is symbolic to the prompt or symbolic to your response to the prompts. It's a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Um, it's just graceful, loving. Um, it's a graceful, loving way to understand yourself, love yourself, help heal yourself, understand yourself as well as others. It's really great, folks. Yeah, so it's in the episode description below, and there's more information at the end of the episode in the pre-recorded outro.
Yeah. Everyone go buy it. Everyone go get the book.
Yes,
I think we could all use more
yes.
self-love and awareness and all those good things always.
Yes, and it's on Amazon in every territory. See, because when I published my first book,
Uh-huh.
3 years ago, or was it 4 years ago? 5 years ago, I published my first book
Yeah.
when I was like what was I, 21? I don't know.
That's
I
so
can't math.
impressive, by the way. I mean, that you've already published 2
Thank
books, and one of them was, like, published when you were 21 or just turned 20. Like, that is incredible. Like, that truly amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you. I remember I wasn't able to publish the first book in like all territories, but now
now
I'm able to publish the book in all territories. This book, not the other one.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, whatever. Amazon, do your thing with that one. I don't know what to tell you, but this book is available in every territory. Also, shout out to New Zealand um, for being the newest location that this podcast is heard in.
shout out New
We love
Zealand.
that. Yeah, shout out New Zealand. I need me a New Zealand man. That's childish. Um, okay, so the topic.
Right.
So we're gonna start with the topic. I am wanted but not desired. Leland, I am so glad you wanted to talk about this. I was just dying for someone to want to
Yeah.
talk about this. Um, so Leland, what about that topic stood out to you, and how does that like shown up in your life? What like when reading that topic, what does that invoke within you?
Yeah. So I feel like why I really was excited and want to talk about this one is I know for me, I think I've always kind of struggled with self-love, self-esteem, self-worth, self-respect, all the self like things related to kind of like self-love, and just accepting yourself and being comfortable in yourself. You know, some of that rooting from like childhood bullying and then just like experiences throughout my life, which like are not happening anymore. But you know, those obviously leave like an impact. Obviously, we're informed by our experiences, and so much of like I think me growing and healing and just becoming a more full person has been like truly loving myself and being just comfortable being me and being okay with that. I've always had kind of people pleasing tendencies. Um, and, you know, I think I'm a very kind person and I wouldn't want to change that. But I feel like kindness and people pleasing, two different things. And so just like trying,
Mm,
my journey's been a lot about like trying to still be that same kind person, but also like just being more comfortable and just being myself and being okay with that, regardless of what others people's perspectives are on you. So anyway, related back to I think the quote, like wanting to be wanted but not necessarily desired. I feel like there's nothing wrong with wanting to be liked and to have people in your life that care about you. I think we all need that, and that's super important, whether it's friends, families, romantic partners, etc. But I feel like when I read that
right.
desired kind of felt like maybe that extra like that extra step of like, well, if it's great to be liked and to have people in your life that care about you, but let's also be okay if like people aren't always, in our life 24/7, or like in the sense that maybe we feel like
Mm,
we might be trying to fill our own like kind of emotional void. So and that's why kind of like that does but not desired stick out to me, because it's like being comfortable just being have knowing that people care about you and that you love them, they love you. There's that mutual love and care and respect, but also being comfortable in those times where maybe you're just alone or maybe you're doing your own thing or doing things by yourself. And I know that's something I've really been trying to do a lot over the past year is refine the things that I like to do even outside of hanging out with friends, which I love being with my friends and my family and all my loved ones. That's all so nourishing to me. But, maybe if my friends are busy, being okay just, like, taking a trip to the library. That's something I've been doing quite a lot, this semester. I usually take about for a couple weeks now, I've been doing, like, once or twice a week, just going to, like, the Austin Downtown Central Library, and I'm just, like, there for myself studying, working on stuff, getting stuff done, um, and, like, I will, like, sometimes invite people, and if people are free, I would love to have them there, but also, like, it's been fun just, being there by myself and having that kind of being able to self-start and just go do that just for me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's why like I want to be wanted, or it's okay to be wanted but not desired really stuck out was because of just like that comfortability in yourself and not always needing someone else to fill your like that void, I guess.
Right.
But again, I say all this and I'm a huge people's person, an extrovert, which again is great. I get nourished by other people. But, again, I in times where I'm not with other people, people are busy, just being able to be okay in myself. Sorry, that was like a long spiel, longer than I would,
No,
but
no, no, yeah, no. It's a podcast. It's
yeah,
meant for us to talk a
right,
lot.
right.
Yeah. Mm. Okay, see, that is very interesting and unique to
Uh-huh.
me because I remember during a bonus episode, and it was just a me episode, which those are
Right.
like very rare, but I mentioned that um I remember during season 3
Yeah.
um that I mentioned this is during the bonus episode. I forgot what the topic was, but the words came out of my mouth of oftentimes I'm wanted but not desired, or I hate when I'm wanted but not desired.
Mhm.
And I spent probably 30 seconds explaining what that means to me. And
Yeah.
so I just had tunnel vision of this is exactly what this means to me. There's no other possible way I could see this meaning anything different
Mhm.
for anybody else. It just, but this is why I love conversation because it just opens my eyes to other perspectives,
Yeah.
and realities, because I was not thinking that at all, and so that is amazing. Like, and I say that at all, I'm not saying like, oh, I was expecting you to say
Right.
something different. No, no, I mean like for me, like when I read that, that's all I thought.
Yeah. Well, what
So to
was your
hear,
what was your thought process on it? I'm curious to know. Like,
oh, so this, sorry,
no, you're
so this, I when it comes to like the romantics spectrum,
yeah.
that whole thing. Um and this is mind you, this is like 2 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Um but this is when this thought came up.
Yeah.
But I was talking about the romantic spectrum, a lot of um guys
Yeah.
guys and girls have hit on me and stuff like that. I'd be like, "Sorry, queen. I wish I could choose. If I could choose, trust me, if I could choose, I would definitely choose women." I was like, I at that time I was like, "I hate all men, yada yada
Right.
yada." And they're like, "I hear that." And I was just like, "Yes, the girls and the gays, we get each other."
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yes, we do. But yeah, so that was my whole like mindset. That was 2 years ago. Now I'm completely different and I'm so proud of me. Now I'm just existing, living and loving my life
Yeah.
and loving myself so much and I love that for me.
I
But
think for you too. Well, and I'll just quickly, I know you're still going, but I would just
yeah.
say, like,
No, go
I
ahead.
think it for me as well, like, it also very much, like, I saw it in a romantic context as well, but I also just saw it, like, in a broader, like,
Mm,
interpersonal relationship. So I think
yeah.
because I feel like desired is a very, like, strong connotation of, like, romanticness or romantic feelings,
Mm,
and so I definitely agree with you in that, and I got that same meaning from it as well, but also just got, like, a larger, like, kind of friends and relationships look out of it from my perspective. Because I feel like the way because I feel like what you can learn in relationships, romantic relationships specifically, and how you can heal and grow, through those or after one or whatever the case may be, and learning more about yourself, like, it really can apply to, of course, future romantic relationships as well and carrying what you've learned and stuff like that, but it also applies to just general friendships, and I think
yeah.
you really realize that. Like, maybe you don't even realize it just when you have friendships, but then in a relationship, you can kinda realize, like,
Yeah.
what your ticks are, what you
Yeah, yeah,
need, what you don't need, maybe where you're, um,
yeah,
codependencies, stuff like that.
yeah.
So anyway,
And areas of growth, all that.
right. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, 1000%. I completely agree. The stuff that you can learn about, yourself in romantic relationships.
yeah,
Um,
so much. So literally, you learn so much
yeah,
about yourself and about how you operate. Yeah, it's just so interesting to see.
yeah, 1000%. Um, I had hit a point where I was just fed up being wanted by guys, and I was just like, I want to be desired. Like I don't want them to just want to be with me because they physically are attracted to me.
Yeah,
I'm just like, that is flattering, that's great. Eventually I didn't take it as flattery. Eventually I was just like, I'm so tired.
right.
Leave me alone. Like I was just like, leave me alone, whatever. I'm not gonna be your object,
Yeah,
so move on. So yeah, so I just got tired when men just like wanted me for their looks, and I'm just like, I am so much more than that. I have a whole heart. You know what I mean?
a
I
whole
have a
personality.
whole
If you could believe it, like we have a whole personality, a whole emotions, feelings.
yeah,
Um, no, I
yeah,
100% get that. 100%.
exactly. And so I personally and no judgment to anyone who is, I'm not a physically sexual person. That's just not me. So I don't necessarily just like allow someone in my body. And when I say in my body, oh God, that sounds so wrong. I did not mean it like, folks, I did not mean it like that. All y'all, if anyone thought that other than me, y'all all have dirty minds and y'all are,
It's their
you,
dirty mind. It's not they're missing. See, they're missing the audience if they take it that way. They're
damn
missing
it.
the thing because I got it.
God damn it. Yeah, okay.
Letting them into your life, like yeah,
All
it's
you 21st century people out there, you 21st century, we all have dirty minds.
Gen
Bless our
Z,
hearts.
millennial.
Yes, us Gen Z millennials. Like seriously, someone can say this, like adults can say like something and they don't even realize that what they said, our generation would be
Like, oh my god, no,
like,
yeah,
oh my God, I can think of something dirty for that.
right,
Like, oh, he's nuts. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, yeah. So, because like our generation, if someone says nuts, it means nuts. It doesn't mean peanuts. You know?
right.
I don't know. I just thought, sorry. I hope that, is that okay to say on your episode?
I'm fine with. I mean, yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
Okay. Is it here? 1 second. 1 second.
and again, there's nothing wrong with maybe wanting something more casual. But I just feel like it's so much now. It's like hard to find someone who
Yeah.
is maybe has those same like intentions, or at least is interested in potentially seeing something more and really diving into what really, in my opinion, makes like a romantic relationship, which is those deeper feelings, sharing your
Yeah.
experiences, sharing yourself with this person, and still maintaining being independent,
Yeah.
and interdependence. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I pressed play at the perfect time.
perfect.
So we got all of that part.
Okay.
That was very wise of you,
Oh, thank you.
Leland.
I just be talking.
Yes.
Sometimes I just be talking, and I'm like, I'm like, was that a ramble? Like, did that make any sense? But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta like see what. Sometimes it just flows out, and other times I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me think about it.
Uh, literally same. No, I'm not even joking. Like literally same.
Yeah.
Same here.
No, you get what I mean, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and so that is the thing, folks, is like Leland saying, like I guess that's he verbalized it a lot better, a lot more. Yeah, I, in my opinion, he verbalized it a lot better than what I said. Um,
Yeah.
I need a fan.
Right, it's
Um,
like it's not there.
I just can't believe it. Like, what the
No, it
hell?
was funny, it was
Man, if
funny.
I was born in the 60s, I would not be having this issue. But anyways,
Wait,
yes,
the '60s
so
were
that
crazy. The '60s were crazy.
they were
I
crazy.
mean, they had, like, the free love movement and all that, you know? They're kind of the way some I mean, okay, not to say this like I'm not saying it, like, in a negative way, I'm just saying, like, a lot of the movements for, like, free love and stuff like that were born out of the
Mhm.
'60s, and, you know, that's impacted our culture and the way we are in the United States today. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what you're meaning, but I feel like some of those people who were born in like especially the teens and the older teens in the '60s, you know, they were some of the big mover and shakers and like counterculture and all that. So not
yeah,
again kind of a tangent, but I don't
yeah.
know. The '60s is
Although
very
I was just talking about like that generation didn't have a dirty mind like we do.
right.
That's what I was talking
But
about.
some of them
Oh,
might have. Some of them might have.
Leland came through with the education. You know, they probably did have. They probably. I haven't met a 60-year-old that has a dirty mind. That's just
Oh, are
me
you sorry, maybe I misinterpret. Were you saying, like, someone who's 60 now, or are you saying, like, someone at the time in, like, the '60s?
in
'Cause
the 60s. Maybe I should have said 50s. Maybe that would have
'50s, I
proved a
yeah,
point.
you know, because I feel like there's this big, um, historical viewpoint of, like, the '50s is this very, like, clean cut, um
That is
which, you know,
true.
there is that's obviously one telling of history, and I think there are some accuracies to that. But then there was also, again, other stuff that was happening. So it's always interesting. It's always interesting to dive in the nuances, and you know, there are
Yeah,
prevailing narratives, and those narratives are backed by fact. But then there's also, you know, sometimes stories that are less told, which is why I find history so interesting. Because as much as things did happen and like that's on the historical record, it really is also how we then tell those stories and which stories get told, which don't, how and then how that's told. So as much as like
yeah.
history happens, we also make it and change it and shape it with our own biases. I don't know. That's just like a thing.
That is so true.
Yeah.
We change it, we remake it,
Remake.
even though it
Yeah.
already happened. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 1000%.
Right.
Oh, people been doing that for years. Um, but yes, I I was like, honestly, for me now, when I go on dates,
Right.
right? Um, I go intentionally, right?
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me. Literally no judgment to anyone else. I mean, literally no judgment. Do you boo? Whatever makes you happy. Literally, whatever makes you happy.
Right.
But I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I'm gonna do what makes me
As
happy.
you
So
should.
when I go,
As you should.
yeah, when I go on dates, I go intentionally, and I used to be caught up on looks, right? Like I used to, and now I'm like, okay, a person is more than their looks. Someone can look so attractive on the outside, but on the inside, they could be so ugly. Like they could be so ugly on the
Yeah.
inside and just be the worst person in the world, extremely toxic, all of that stuff. So, just a side note, but
Or just not
um,
even if they're not
go
like
ahead.
a could I just add on that real like, I was gonna say,
Yeah, go
but even
ahead.
if they're not like a really bad person, they could or toxic person, they could just be not the right fit. Even if like, you know, the looks could
Yeah,
be there, you're like, "Oh, this is they're a catch. They seem like a catch." But, you know, maybe they aren't even outside of potentially them if they're, you know, I feel like it doesn't even have to be the extreme necessarily. It could just be that like, "Oh, maybe we're not gonna be as
right.
compatible as I was hoping or thought we would be." Just wanna add
Mm.
that little thing in there because like, I completely agree with you. Yeah, so just wanted to put that in there too.
I'm glad that you added that. That helped humble me. Seriously.
No, I wasn't trying to humble you. I was agreeing with you
Oh, it
and adding. Yeah, and adding.
yeah. Oh no, it humble. Hey, listen, I love humbling is healing. I loved it because every time I think of that statement that I just said, I always think of the extreme, and I'm not really thinking about because I'm always like in my head about it. So as much as I try to see it from other perspectives, You
Right.
know, sometimes I just see tunnel vision, because it's kind of inevitable. But so I really appreciate you saying that. That humbled me into seeing that, okay, there is another reality.
Yeah.
So listen, I love being humbled. I love being held accountable. It listen, like that is the way that I grow, and trust me, I love growing. I love growth.
Well, I'm glad
I
I
love
was
it.
I promise, not trying to humble. I was because I was agreeing with you, just adding that I think, and
Yeah.
sometimes they can be. Maybe you go on like a date or something or two with them, or you start to get to know them better, and then maybe they are super toxic. So it could
Yeah.
also be that too. It could really go either way, honestly,
Yeah.
or a million different ways that we don't live. Like there's infinite ways someone could be, or how a relationship could develop. So it's interesting.
Yeah. 1000% agreed. 1000%. Thank you for seriously. Thank you for sharing that, Leland.
Of course.
Um, yeah, and it's like now I look at it as like the physical attraction. That is so easy. Like that is just so easy for me to just pick out some guy, and like if there's like 100 guys in a room, it's so and they're like all physically attracted. They're all what I'm physically attracted to, right? That
Right.
is so easy to look at someone and be like, I'm physically attracted to them. You know what I mean? But they are more than just their looks. So for me
Right.
now, how I go about it is more intentionally. I try
Yeah.
my best to um, build a desire for them, and that is obviously by getting to know them. But it's no longer physical alignment, it's now an energy alignment.
Yeah.
You know, are my energies good with them, vice versa, you know? Um, so it's like that for me, that helps me like narrow down, you know,
Right.
who I am willing to go on dates with and get to know. You know, that's just me, but it's I definitely, you know, and it honestly like after years of being wanted but not desired started, you know, it just got too much.
Mhm.
I started like thinking, am I nothing but an object? Though I don't give them myself necessarily. I don't, you know, I'm just like I'm very protective over my body.
Yeah.
Um for a multitude of reasons, right? And that's just me. I have certain reasons why I'm so protective over my body. It's not because of and I grew up um in a Christian household, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately for for my household, it was very unfortunate. And so that thing, oh, no sex before marriage, that is still ingrained in my subconscious,
Yeah.
and I am aware of that. Um, I'm just glad that I don't judge people who do have, you know, sex before marriage, you know, because I was taught to judge people that do that. And,
Right.
you know, so up until like high school, I'm just like, do you? Why are you so concerned about what this person's doing? Do you mind your business? Are you just jealous? Like, I wanted to tell my mom that so bad. Be like, are you just jealous? And then to find out that she as well did it. So I'm just like, now you're just being a hypocrite and judging. You know, it's not necessarily. And I told her, I'm so proud of myself but I told her, I was just like, look, I think many people are not upset necessarily that you believe a certain way and not always follow it. I think it's that you believe a certain way, not always follow it, and you not and but you judge someone else so harshly when they do the same thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm just like, I think that's where
Yeah.
the hypocrisy comes in because I think we all have an understanding that we're humans and no one's going to be perfect. You know,
Right.
I just think it's like, I'm okay, I'm doing the same action as you, but I'm going to judge you harshly. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that's not fair, you know? But anyways, long story short, I don't judge anyone who I'm just like, we're all humans. What? Like who?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, good. If you don't, good. So, but anyways, but there's also more like traumatic reasons why I'm very protective of my body.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but
And I feel like I'm picking up the vibe, and I'm sorry for whatever has happened to you in the past, and just know it wasn't your fault, and you didn't deserve that at all.
yes, thank you. Um, yeah, so I'm very protective of my body. So not just anyone can get my body.
Yeah.
And at first it was very flattering when because I growing up I was always told I was ugly, right? You know, it took until freshman year of college where I finally believed I am not ugly. I was like, I'm cute, like, and like, I don't know. But anyways, um, yeah, but okay, sorry, I was off track, I think. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. But anyways, yeah,
But
being wanted so much, it
yeah.
kind of got degrading in a sense
Right.
to me, because I guess what I'm looking for isn't what they were looking for. And so when I kept encountering that, it just it got discouraging to me. It did. Um because I've always been a more like substance person, substantial, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and so so yeah, that's why like I I understand like physical attraction is very important, and I do think it's important, to have physical
Yeah.
attraction. Um, but for me personally, my thing for my life is, you know, physical attraction it can get someone to the door, but their personality will open it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that, and, you said something that I was thinking about and stood out to me, and I relate to a little bit or related to, was like, again, I mentioned how growing up I was bullied a lot for my weight and just other aspects of, uh
Oh, same. Were you like really skinny or something?
I
Like, were you
was
like,
I was a bigger kid. Well, part of
okay,
my life. I mean, honestly, probably looking back, I wasn't even that big, but kids can just be awful and vicious sometimes if we're being
that's true.
um,
Yeah.
and so, I can I, like, can really get that, like, then once you, like, start to grow up and, like, you're past, like, K through 12, like, you're in college or whatever else is you're doing in your life, and, maybe you do have people who are, like, showing, that physical like, at least they're, like, being very flattering and stuff, and it can be intoxicating, it can be enticing, and you're like, "Oh my god, like, this is so nice. I have not really had this much of this in my life because people have, like, bullied me or degraded me." So it really can be intoxicating, but then I feel like and maybe it's part of, like, your journey too, and I know it's been part of mine, is, like, now the healing and growing is, like, realizing that, like, no, I do think I am, like, an attractive, good-looking person with, like, a good personality, but I don't need another person, like, or people to validate that in me. I mean, if you find a partner, obviously, and you should want them like, it's nice to, of course, have a partner that at that point, is obviously into you physically, emotionally, etc. But I feel like that's different than just like wanting like getting the thrill off any sort of like
Mhm.
physical like flattering like validation, and realizing that like that can be so shallow. It doesn't always have to be, or even if that's what someone wants, then that's fine as well. Like you said, to each their own, right? But then realizing like no, even though yeah, it's an important like one aspect, but I also want someone who likes me for me, and I like me for me. So, and if we're not
Yes.
compatible, then that's okay, and we can go our own ways or whatever. But, at the end of the day, like, I love myself enough, and I have enough self-esteem and respect where, like, I don't need to get those, like, dopamine hits off of, like, flattery and,
Hmm.
like, compliments. And again, it's nice, and I think more people should be kinder to each other in general, just like in everyday life. It doesn't even have to be, like, romantic.
Yeah.
I think it should be like, I love giving compliments when I just, like, see people who have, like, a good outfit or, like, their, earrings and stuff like
Yeah.
that, because it just, like, is really nice. And you know, our words do have impact, and so, like, they can really impact someone and, like, make their whole day or week better. So, like, I love that part
Hmm.
of it. But at least, like,
Same.
for
Yeah.
me, like, receiving, like, I think part of my growing experience has been, like, I don't always need these, like I mean, I like words of affirmation. Again, everyone does, right? Who doesn't? I mean,
Yeah. I love
right, and who
affirmation.
doesn't love a compliment or, someone, like,
Yeah.
flattering you or, flirting or etcetera? It's
Hmm.
always nice, but at the end of the day, like, love yourself enough and like, and be intentional in dating or friends or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One other quick thing, to help push my point even more, or to help prove my point even more.
Yeah.
A big, ugh, sorry, I burped on this
No, you're
guy.
so good.
Of being wanted but not desired. It's kind of like, for me, also like something looks great on picture. It looks great on picture, right? And then, but it's like I want them to be willing to put in the work, as well. For example, and it took a lot of experience to teach me, and here's a metaphor, but it's also literal, is I want a wedding, right?
Yeah.
However, I think the desire part comes in when I also want marriage, because there's the wedding and then there's the marriage, which happens, after the wedding, and it's just like, okay, y'all start living together, y'all are gonna start butting heads possibly, it's gonna have its ups and
Yeah.
downs, so it's just like for so long, and by so long, mind you, I mean like probably from like a kid up until sophomore year of college.
Mhm.
Um, to give people like a time frame, I am graduating with my master's. So sophomore year of college would have been 6 years ago. Whatever. I don't know how to do the math right now. You know what I mean? That's not my forte.
Right, people can
That's
piece
not my major.
they can piece together the timeline, they can put it together. That's fair
Yeah.
enough, they get the general
Yeah.
idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I just turned 26, folks. There you go. Do the math. 'Cause I won't. And can't.
Oh, that was I love that,
Yeah, and so, but for so long, I just wanted wedding, I want it, and it's just like it looks good for pictures, you know what I mean? And oh, I wanted a puppy
yeah,
because it looks good on
oh my
pictures,
god.
but it's like that desired base comes in when it's just like, okay, the puppy, it will poop, it'll pee, you gotta feed it. There's so much more than just
The
the
picturesque
pictures.
part of it, there's more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it kind of sucks that like it just it I don't know, it just kind of sucks that I was taught that in such a very unappropriate way. That makes sense. You know what I mean? One sec. Yeah, and so what? Sorry, folks. If I'm being vulnerable, I pressed pause. I'm sorry. Whatever. Sorry. Let me be
we had to take a
vulnerable. It's
little
alcohol.
break for a second.
I, s- I swear it's my first time doing this. Y'all know that. Um, okay, so really quick, we're gonna touch up on we trade our true identity for the approval of others. Leland, I'll keep a look on the time.
Yeah, yeah,
By the way, I got you.
I know you're good.
Um, what does that mean to you? What do you have to say about that, Leland?
Yeah, obviously, I don't wanna, like, repeat too much of what I said for the first topic, but obviously, there's some similarities and
Maybe
differences.
someone needs to hear it again. So it's okay if you repeat something. Maybe someone
Yeah,
needs to hear it again. So it's
true,
okay,
true.
just letting you know.
But my thoughts on this one, is very much, um, that Wait, I'm sorry. I just like blanked for a second. Will you repeat the sentence, like the whole phrase? You're like,
Yeah, yeah, we love a brain blank.
all right,
Um, we
vulnerability.
yes,
Yes,
um, we trade our true identity for the approval or acceptance of others.
right. Yeah. So I think for me, I I've talked about having kind of like childhood bullying and just experiences that um, made me want to hold parts of myself back, which is so interesting because I'm an extrovert. I love being kind to people. I didn't let those experiences define me or make me like a more bitter person. If anything, I try to even have empathy for the people that were wrong to me because I'm like, maybe they have a bad home life or something, which again doesn't justify their behavior, but it does give context to it. And so at the
Yeah,
end of
give
the day,
some
like
understanding.
if I was to become a person who wanted to like be spiteful or vengeful, that would only cause more negativity in the world. Which anyway, all that is to say. But I would, because of those early experiences, I feel like that made me like mask a lot where it's hard for me sometimes to like show my full and true self to people. Even just like talking about things that I'm passionate about because it feels like, oh, maybe I'm being like too much or it's too much of a burden or whatever the
Mm,
case may be. But like, you realize like people want to see your full self. And again, if they care about you, if they want to develop this relationship with you or friendship or whatever it may be, they want to know all those aspects about yourself. And there's nothing wrong with getting passionate and excited as long as you're also allowing space for the other person
oh, Leland froze,
everyone
folks.
gets to share. But
We will
yeah,
start.
that's kind of like
Oh,
for me trying to cut down that mask.
sorry. You had froze for like
Oh
5 seconds.
crap. Well, I was saying was just like again in my self growth and healing and loving myself journey, also just being willing to open up more to people, not necessarily maybe being completely vulnerable and sharing everything all your secrets and things to someone when when they just first get to know you, because I do think they're just for some things there needs to be a level of trust established, and I think that's valid. I think that can be a boundary as well, like realizing some things like
Yeah,
you need to truly be a close friend or partner or whatever the case may be before I'll maybe share some of that information to you. But things that are more like even surface level, I feel like I would hide it or mask it or not wanna, like, show my passions, and that's what I've really I'm trying, and again, yeah, it's never perfect, we're always working and it's not a linear journey, but um, trying to be willing to open up more to people, showing more of myself, bringing more of myself to the table. And when I'm making new friendships or building old ones and growing them, because that really builds them even more, right? When you bring more of yourself. And again, if for whatever reason someone doesn't like an aspect of you or is like they feel like you're being too much, then again, that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And if you did say something or bring part of yourself and they didn't like it, they can also communicate healthily to you or whatever the case
yeah,
may be. But really, that I mean, if you're just being yourself, like people who care about you shouldn't you know,
right.
be turned off by that. And so that's something I've like had to like teach, I guess, unlearn past experiences and relearn. Like, no, I want to bring my full self, and it can still like be scary. Like, I still will at times be like, am I talking too much? Am I saying like even right now, like if I'm being completely vulnerable, like
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, am I saying
I do that all the
right?
time.
Um, but then you're like, no, I mean, people like if they're wanting to hang out with you, clearly they have interest in being a friend or whatever the case may be. So bring your full self. Obviously, and again, you need to make sure you're engaging them and learning more about them because that's part of how it works. Is you can't just be like, oh, like saying all stuff about you without also like learning more about them as well. But by sharing more about you, that can also open up the door for them to be like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I relate to that
Yeah,
this way, or maybe I don't relate, but that's like still cool that you're passionate about that, or that you have this experience or identity, or again, whatever the case may be. So honestly, that's how
yeah,
like that topic really stood out to me, is just trying to like let down that mask, or like mask myself less and really show more of myself in ways that are comfortable and that are, I guess, right for that context or moment.
Yes, beautifully said. Oh my gosh, so folks, we're wrapping up because we're at the 58-minute mark. Um, Thank you, Leland, for coming. We really enjoyed you.
I enjoy this was amazing. Thank you again for having me on. It's been so great just
Yeah.
getting to talk to you and pick each other's brains, like bounce ideas and like
Yes.
experiences and
Yeah.
to everyone out there, I hope that something you can take something from the many things we said, or um, even if like you just like to listen to it. I just want to say I love all of y'all and I hope you're having an amazing day and week and everything.
Yeah. Yes. Alrighty, bye folks. See you next time for whatever that episode will be. Cause I don't know. I don't know. We're just gonna
That's
there we go.
about it.
All right.
That's
Yes.
bye everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me again.
Bye. Hello, everyone. Before we end the video, I would love to announce, and I am proud to announce that my second book is available now on Amazon. It is called Wounds into Wisdom, Self-Awareness Interactive Journal Notebook with Prompts. If you love learning about yourself, if you want to go into more self-awareness, if you want to talk to your inner child, if you want to just talk to yourself and find out new things, this journal notebook with prompts is for you. It is interactive. It has spaces where you can doodle or draw anything that symbolizes the prompt. um, you are able to interact and conversate with these prompts in the journal notebook. And it also has space at the end for you to just journal if you would like to just journal. But yes, these prompts in the book are very wise and thought provoking. Um, it will make you think, I have never thought about that before. I did not recognize that in my life until now. These will blow your mind. These will drop your jaw in a good way. In a good way. But yes, the link to purchase the book is on Amazon. The link will be in the episode description below. Also, thank y'all so much for making it to the end of this episode. I challenge you to send this podcast to at least one person. You never know whose life you are going to save by sending this podcast, because they might send it to someone else who really needed to hear it, and that person's life will be saved. Because remember, the point of this podcast, in general, vulnerability time, is what if someone's on their way home to end their lives, but because they listened to a special guest or to me, because they listened, they decide to live, even if it's just a little bit longer. This is a life-saving podcast, folks. And yeah, thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all next time for whatever episode that will be, because this is a pre-recorded outro. Alrighty, love y'all tons. Stay amazing. I'm proud of you for still breathing on this earth.